I would like to kindly ask you all to please join me in a moment of silence to pay respect to all of the fallen victims and martyrs in Gaza, in the West Bank, in South Lebanon, and to Aaron Bushnell. Thank you. The world has failed the Palestinians. The world has failed Palestine, and thus the world has failed humanity. I am ashamed to be human. I am ashamed of this world that has allowed a genocide and an ethnic cleansing that had started back in the 20th century to continue unabated into the 21st century. History did not start on October 7, 2023. The Palestinian population have been living the Nakba of 1948 every single day to this day. And the Zionist apartheid Israeli regime has never ever been held accountable, neither for its past massacres and atrocities, nor for its current apocalyptic genocide and forced starvation against the Palestinian population in Gaza. Prior to October 7, 2023, the world hardly heard of Gaza, much less knew it existed. But Gaza has awakened the world from its deep slumber and confronted its indifference. Gaza has decolonized the minds and hearts of people worldwide and exposed to them the true face of the oppressor. And what kind of an oppressor? An occupier, colonizer, a brutal apartheid Zionist Israeli regime sustained by domination, racism, discrimination, and segregation. A regime that thrives in impunity, unequivocal support and political cover from its staunch ally, the United States of America, and also from the European Union. A regime that poses an existential threat to the Palestinians and their land, to Lebanon, to Syria, and to peace and stability in the Middle East. Gaza has exposed the true face of Western governments, their indifference, inhumanity, their dehumanization of the Palestinian people, and most importantly, their complicity in the current genocide taking place in Gaza. And genocide is not only killing masses of people, it is also intentionally destroying and erasing their homes and institutions, their culture and identity, wiping them off the map and of history books. Zionism and apartheid are a threat to civilization. The Zionist ideology is a white supremacist, racist, colonial ideology, and it's the driving force behind the ongoing apartheid that has brought havoc, ethnic cleansing, mass expulsion, brutal occupation, massacres, atrocities, and genocide in occupied Palestine. The historical context of the founders of Zionism starkly reveal in every single one of their manifestos that it's a colonial movement. And this colonial movement has been ongoing for 76 years. Think about it. 76 years. Decades of unimaginable horrors and sufferings, crimes against humanity, oppression, persecution, extrajudicial killings, kidnappings, imprisonments, racism, discrimination, human rights violations, and inconceivable injustices systemically and systematically inflicted upon the Palestinian population. And although every state has an international legal obligation to prevent atrocities, war crimes, and genocide, not a single Western government has interfered to stop it. And why? It is more than evident, because they are all complicit. All complicit. All they do is to lecture to the world, especially to the global South, about human rights, about freedom, justice, and equality, while they deliberately turn a blind eye to the colossal ongoing injustice in occupied Palestine. And what a mockery and a travesty of the UN Charter, of international law, and of justice. It's important here to note that on November 10, 1975, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 3379, determining that Zionism is a form of racism and racial discrimination. But in 1991, it was revoked under pressure from the United States after US Presidents George W.H. Bush personally introduced the motion to revoke it. Governments never start movements or revolutions, not even resistance. It's the oppressed people who ignite it. And Palestinians have a right under international law to resist oppression, settler colonialism, and occupation with arms. It's even sanctified under international law. And unlike what the complicit Western media, the mouthful of Western intelligence apparatus, trumpeting lies, propaganda, and warping the truth, resistance groups, freedom fighters do not start wars. They rightfully respond to wars and aggression waged against them. Palestinians have the right to claim back their stolen land and the right to self-determination. Governments worldwide must also recognize the Palestinians, refugees, and their descendants to return to their homes where they or their families once lived and provide them with full reparations. There must be international responsibility to end Israeli apartheid, and that means applying all the necessary pressure and measures for its immediate dismantlement. Governments have never defeated apartheid. The solidarity of the people did. Apartheid was defeated in Rhodesia in 1980. Apartheid was defeated in Namibia in 1990. Apartheid was defeated in South Africa in 1994, and apartheid will be defeated in occupied Palestine. Neither apartheid nor Zionism have succeeded in silencing and killing the collective conscience of the Palestinian people, their indomitable spirit, their great resistance, perseverance, and belief in justice and freedom. As a war survivor myself, I retain my faith and my unshakable belief in the power and impact of activism, solidarity, and hope to bring positive change, a dismantlement of the Zionist apartheid Israeli regime, and an establishment of one state, a single democratic state with equal rights for Christians, Jews, and Muslims, coexisting and living together in dignity, peace, security, and prosperity. This man-made humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza can no longer be ignored and buried, nor the endemic violence and systematic violations of human rights. And as the legendary Nelson Mandela once said, we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. Free Palestine.